Hello and welcome to the Reborn Fitness Podcast. I am your host, Timothy Horn, and welcome to another episode of the Reborn Fitness Podcast. Series 5, last week we had a great interview with David Rahman, the mind coach. So if you have not listened to that, go back and check that out on all podcast streaming services. It was a great episode and it was so great to have David on board with that. Welcome to my very first ever video podcast. It's so new to me, this, but if anyone's done a video podcast, if anyone watches this, any tips would be much appreciated on how to improve the setup, the lighting. I've got a Fujifilm X-T200 camera with a Rode microphone attached, and I'm also recording into GarageBand for the audio only podcast. So I've got two options now, which is really exciting. But today I wanted to talk about functional strength training and the importance of it and why you should consider it and start developing it into your training. But before I get into that here on the Reborn Fitness Podcast, I am just going to have a little bit of housekeeping. Obviously this is come out today, Friday the 15th of January at 2 p.m, which is really exciting. But tonight at 7 p.m, I have the Reborn Fitness Ultimate Sports Quiz 2021 on Zoom. I put the details out yesterday on my Instagram and Facebook pages, so if you've not seen that, go and check those out. My Facebook page, Reborn Fitness, then you'll find the page with the logo, or go onto Instagram, Reborn_Fitness Podcast, and you'll get all the Zoom details there. We're on tonight, 7 p.m, to see who the ultimate sports quiz maestro really is. So come along, it'll be some great fun. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there tonight. We're starting at 7 p.m, so jump on, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. But let's get into it. Let's dive in and look more into functional strength training and why it's important for you to start maybe considering it in your training here on the Reborn Fitness Podcast. I'd love to know if you do find this useful or not. But what is functional strength? Well, functional strength is the ability to run your load joints. So they are your shoulders, your hips, your knees, and your ankles. They are your key joints that you're putting load through on a daily basis. Okay, so it's the ability to run your load joints through a full range of motion, not limited, but a full range of motion without pain, stiffness, or restriction. This can also be known as load joint articulation. And some examples are a squat or multi-directional lunges. Okay. Now, what's strength though? What's the definition of strength when we say strength, and especially muscular strength? Well, muscular strength can be defined as the ability to exert force in order to overcome resistance. Pretty straightforward, huh? Usually if you have a bar, that's your resistance, and you've got to use force to overcome that resistance, and that's where you get your muscular strength from. But I feel functional strength training is becoming more and more important, especially now as the times are changing and people are becoming more and more active on a daily basis. I just wanted to really speak about it, and I think it's very, very important that we talk about it. Now, there are 7 key functional movements that make up functional strength. And the first one is squat. That's the first one. The second one is the lunge. The third aspect is a push. The fourth is a pull. The fifth is a hinge. The sixth is a twist. And the final one, the seventh and final one, is walk. Now, do they sound familiar to you, those 7 movements? Squat, lunge, push, pull, hinge, twist, and walk. Well, they should do, because that is basically every single movement you need in every single day life. You're squatting on a daily basis, you're lunging on a daily basis, you're pushing things on a daily basis, you're pulling things on a daily basis, you're hinging on a daily basis, you're twisting on a daily basis, and you're also walking on a daily basis. So can you start to see why it's already so important, this functional strength training? Let me ask you a question. Why do you go to the gym? Why do you keep in shape? Why do you run? Why do you make the effort to keep fit? Watch what you eat. Is it to tick a box? Is it to ease your conscience maybe? Or do you have a purpose? I know some people have a purpose. They might be doing sport-specific training, where they're training for their certain sport or an event coming up. But your everyday person that goes to the gym and has a routine of going to the gym, what do you do and why do you do it? Why do you lift weights? Is it just to make yourself feel better? Is it aesthetics? Is it because you're competing with a friend because you want to look as good as them or do the same thing as them because you look up to them? Is it because you're following a social trend on social media? You watch some other guys, you want to copy him? What's your reason? It's a good question to ask yourself, because functional strength, the 7 key movements of squats, lunge, push, pull, hinge, twist and walk, you can incorporate them into a gym program easily, into a session program. You could start with a compound lifts of a squat, a deadlift, deadlift, a front squat, a back squat, weighted lunges, walking lunges, push-ups, pull-ups, hinges. You could do good morning for your hamstrings, twist, Russian twists, and walk on the treadmill. So you can incorporate a program, but in there you will have some weaknesses. Maybe your push is not as good, you can't do a push-up maybe, or you can't do full pull-ups yet, or maybe your squat isn't as strong as you want it to be. So you can always work on other areas, but then focus on those. But the good thing about functional strength training, do you know what it is? When you do sport-specific training, so you're training for a specific sport, tennis, football, rugby, whatever it is, they're transferable only to the sport that you're playing. So it's a niche thing you're training. You're training in a niche way for rugby only, or for power, to improve power in rugby, or to improve strength in tennis, you can hit the ball harder. Functional strength training is so good because those 7 movements are transferable into your everyday life. So doing these movements and training these will make your life a much, much better place. It will make you feel stronger. You'll be able to hold things, you'll be able to lift things better. You'll be able to get down easier without pain. You'll be able to push things, you'll be able to pull things with much ease without hurting yourself and with poor technique. You'll be able to hinge better without having to bend your legs. You can hinge with straight legs. You can twist without going, oh, my back. And you can walk much, much longer, much faster, and for a longer duration of time. So, functional strength training is so useful. For example, some of the things you could incorporate are hangs, for example. So isometric movements, in which you recruit your back, your arms and your core all working together, and they'll all become stronger because they're working as a unit. Or do holding movements like a wall sit, where you sit 90 degrees and you're working those quads. But let's say you're a beginner and you're not sure where to start in lockdown. You want to start a new trend now, you want to keep fit because you found yourself getting unfit over the past 2 lockdowns in this stop-start frame. Bodyweight's a great place too. Functional movement, you can start with body weights. And the great thing with that is it boosts flexibility and mobility too. Because doing too many compound lifts to start and doing a lot of this training can sometimes inhibit your flexibility and make you become less flexible. Okay? But body weight is also a great place because it takes the pressure off the joints. If you start body weight, and for me, technique is so important that you keep technique correct. Because if you don't, then you're going to get injured. So start with a body weight, takes the pressure off the joints, get the technique right first, use resistance bands, other things. Just start with body weight and then build up, have some lightweight once you're comfortable that you've got the right technique. I'm more than happy to help you design a program. If this is something that interests you, then get in touch with me. Direct message me on social media or email me, reborn.fitness2020@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to help work something out with you, create a program for you that you can start over this lockdown period. Because what else can we do? We can't do much apart from sit inside, so we might as well start getting fit or start forming habits and become functionally stronger so it can transfer into everyday life, so we can do everyday tasks with ease. Some other tips for functional strength training is lower reps and higher weight. If you want a quick progress, if you want a quick fix, low reps, higher weights. Your progress will skyrocket really, really, really quickly. And exercises you can do these on are compound exercises such as deadlifts, squats, bench press, upright rows, for example. But as I said earlier, be careful not to overdo these or become too fixed on these, as they will reduce your flexibility. You'll become less supple. So you can do them for once a month, that's absolutely perfect. But just remember, lower reps, higher weight, and your strength will skyrocket. Promise you that. But just remember also that everyone reacts to training differently. Individuals react differently. Some individuals right now are training for specific sporting context, so this general type of training that covers the broader area isn't necessarily for you, and that's okay. That's okay. But for everyone that wants to start, if they're just walking or doing the couch to 5k, you've got to have some sort of strength. So strength training and functional strength training is a great place to start, and I'm more than happy to help you. Okay? So that's a little bit about functional strength. I don't want to go too much into it. I don't want to overcomplicate it. That is the basis about it. So 7 key movements, and you can work on all of those at home. You don't need a gym for those. You can do them at home. The 7 movements again. Squats. You can do squats, bodyweight squats. You can do bodyweight lunges. If you've got dumbbells, you can add the weights in too. You can do push-ups. If you've got a pull-up bar, you can do some pull-ups, or you can find something else to use. You can do hinge exercises, good mornings, and other exercises like that, inchworms and other things like that. Twists, Russian twists you can do, and walk, you can walk. We're all walking so much at the moment anyway. So this doesn't require a gym, it just requires your body weight and just do higher volumes. So if you're gonna, as I said, if you want help, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you in any way as possible. And I want to challenge you today on this episode and over lockdown to honestly assess those 7 movements. Out of the squat, the lunge, the push, the pull, the hinge, the twist and the walk, which areas are you strongest at? And then which areas are you weakest at? But cover all those exercises, but focus more on those weaker areas to make those areas stronger. But keep focusing on those strengths to make them super strengths. As I said, I'm happy to help you, so reach out if you want help, and I'm more than happy to help you. But that's my challenge. See if you can improve those areas so you can become more functionally strong today and make your everyday life better. Because if you can do that, your confidence is going to go through the roof. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to be able to do more. It's going to open so many more doors that you didn't think were possible because you were stronger. You're going to take pressure off your joints. You're going to be able to do more things. You're going to live better. You're going to feel better because you're functionally strong and they're transferable to everyday life. So, I challenge you. Let me know how you get on with the lockdown. If you want some help, I can give you some help. Just get in touch with me and I'm more than happy to help set a program up or give you some tips and some advice. And let's do it. Let's challenge yourself to improve those 7 functional movements to become functionally stronger today so you can live a better life, a healthier and stronger life. So you can be there for your kids or just for yourself to make yourself feel better, because we need a bit of a mood lift in this time. So I challenge you today. Assess the 7 movements. Which ones are your strengths and which ones are your weaknesses? Make those weaknesses into strengths and make those strengths into super strengths over this lockdown period. Body weight, if you have weights, you can use them. Low reps, higher weight, but not too much because you become inflexible. So let's try it today. Functional strength training. Let's try those 7 and try and improve those 7 functional movements. Squat, lunge, push, pull, hinge, twist, and walk. And I challenge you today to see if you can improve all those areas, and trust me, it will make a big difference to your every single day life. Okay, so that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about today with you. So I hope you find that useful. Get in touch with me, as I said again, if you want some help with it. Reach out to me on social media, Instagram or Facebook, messenger me, or email me at reborn.fitness2020@gmail.com. That's reborn.fitness2020@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to help you in any way possible. I can design a program, or I can give you some tips or some different exercises, different variations, whatever you need. I'm more than happy to do that for you. Okay? Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for listening. That was episode 2. Next week, we've got a great interview with a girl called Jess, who is in California, and she is a sort of a nutritionist slash personal trainer, who's had her battles with her self-image and how she's overcome that. So it'll be a great conversation. She shares some great tips on diet and how she overcame self-confidence and body issues and other things like that. So if that interests you, that's next week, same time, 2 p.m. on a Friday. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all then, but I'm also looking forward to seeing all of you tonight for the big Reborn Fitness Sports Quiz 2021 on Zoom. So if I don't see you on the quiz tonight, have a great weekend and a great rest of the week. But if I'm seeing you on Zoom, I'll see you all later at 7 p.m. But until then, I've been your host, Timothy Horn. This has been the Reborn Fitness Podcast. Thank you very much for listening and have a great weekend.